Okay, good morning everyone. So continuing on the halachot of kotev, writing on Shabbat. The Shulchan Aruch in the Ramah writes that if somebody erases two letters on Shabbat with the intention of writing on that space, you're chayav. And the reason why you have to have intention, why to write on that space, is because Milachot Shabbat is constructive. So if you're just destroying, you're never being constructive, so that's not chayav deoraita. So whenever you erase, the Mishnah says the only time you're liable is if you have intention to write on it. So the Ramah writes in Siman Shin Mem, what happens if a person has a cake that has letters written on it? They had that in those days as well. And that the Ramah writes from the Mordechai, from one of the Rishonim, that you're not allowed to break a cake that has letters, even if you don't have kavanah only to eat it, because it's considered like erasing. Now, although you're not intending on writing on that space, nevertheless, it's asur de rabbanan. So whenever you're going to erase and not have intention to write on those letters, it's only asur bi de rabbanan. So the question over here is that what happens in all types of packages that you want to, sometimes you open packages on Shabbat. We spoke about opening packages before. We spoke about that it's not an issue if you're trying to get to the food, and if you're throwing away the package, it's temporary. But what happens when you want to open the package and you have to rip letters in the meantime, and you are actually erasing those letters? Is that problematic or not? So here, the discussion is going to be really if you're actually doing the letters themselves. If you try to do in between the letters, you're avoiding the issue. But let's say you can't avoid the letters, what would be the halacha? So the number one thing is that the poskim write, and the Chida talks about this as well in the name of the Marash Levi and others, that if you are breaking a cake that has the letters that are part of the cake itself, that's not a problem. It's only if you have cream, the letters that are on top. But if they are built into the cake, I don't know if you know Angel's Bakery, they always had the stamp of Angel written inside them, that wouldn't be a problem. And the Chida writes about this in Chaim Sha'al Siman Ayin Dalet Sif Nun Aleph, that it would be permitted. Not only that, Rabbi Baruch Toledano in his Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Siman Shin Yud Chet Seif Yud Gimel talks about all types of tzbakia that we have, which is these shbakia. I'm sorry, the honey type of cakes that some of them had on them. He writes pictures on them, honey fried cake, and some of them had pictures on them. He writes. He says that the pictures are made from the tzbakia himself. Tzbakia himself, it's not a problem. Now, the Rav on the bottom, Rabbi Shalom Toledano Shlit on the bottom, his grandson, asks that somewhere else he writes, in Seif Tet he writes, that something like this, Tavo alav bracha, a person should be machmir, and it seems to be a contradiction. So I think that Rabbi Baruch Toledano was more machmir when the actual letter is written inside, then he's more machmir, but not when the cake is made from it itself. But the truth is that even when you have a situation like packages, or like food, where it's not on top, but it's actually it's made out of the thing itself, there's a reason to be lenient. And the reason why is because Rabbi David Cohen Skali, the great Kiryat Chana David, in Chelek Aleph Siman Lamed Tet, says from many Rishonim that non-Torah writing, that means not Hebrew writing, that means English or French or whatever else, letters, there are many Rishonim that say it's the Rabbanan. Now the Biur Halacha in Siman Shin Zayin is not posek this way, but the Kiryat Chana David brings that there are many Rishonim that say that English writing is only the Rabbanan on Shabbat. And Rav Ovadia Yosef, when he gave a haskama to the newly printed Sefer of Kiryat Chana David, says he agrees with it as well, and there's what to be lenient. So especially if you have a cake that has English writing or a package that is English writing, and you are trying not to cut in between the letters, but you cut the letters anyways, it wouldn't be a problem on Shabbat. Chazaku Baruch.